Hello, hello, everybody. You know, I'm I've written so many things that I never really actually a lot of you have never seen. So when I was a kid, there used to be like a few Doctor Who episodes that were on Sci-Fi. I think they were on Sci-Fi. I watched Classic Who prior to the prior before Doctor Who became a mainstream thing. I don't remember where though, but this is one of my oldest. Well, the storyline I can remember that I wrote, and it's a little bit touchy because I can barely remember some, so I rewrote most of it. um, Again, folks, when you have a very old computer that's been in your family for like ever and ever, always back up your stuff. It will save your life. So now I'm going to basically slowly um do one of the professor's regenerations. Now, I'm not gonna say which one this is, but like the doctor, the professor has a lot of regenerations too. It says well, Saiyan Lords themselves are and and I know what you're thinking. Why did you call them Chaos Lords? Because Chaos Lords are not really like Time Lords. I just kind of did it because the Lord in the Chaos Lord's name is more of a. It's more of that they kind of are the lords of like everything, because when a Chaos Lord reaches a certain amount of power, they kind of like not really gods per se, but they can do a lot. But okay, but the Gallifrey, the Gallifrey High Council, um, they made they made a group of hybrid. They made a few hybrids of Saiyan DNA and Time Lord DNA, which like in this version of Gallifrey, this is like before the Time Lord, but some people would actually like do experiments on Time Lords and give them like DNA. But the thing is, the professor's parents were actually a Saiyan. His mother was his his father was a Saiyan. His mother was a Time Lord, and they made this hybrid, which is the professor. And he does have an actual name, but he does go by Bugsy too. But it's mostly the professor for people who don't know him. I'm still working on Professor What things, but I wanted to give you a little taste of what this person is. See what I did there? The doctor sits at his TARDIS after an adventure that cost him his life, but now he's going to regenerate. His companion Sally comes to console him. Art, what's gonna happen to you? I'm going to change, Sally. Sometimes in little ways, sometimes in big ways. But you can't go. What if the person you turn into doesn't remember me? Sally, of course this person's gonna remember you. It's still going to be me. It's just various parts of my DNA is gonna shift. Certain traits are gonna be bigger than others. But I'll still be the same man. No. It's time. professor, giving Sally one last look, he goes over to his console, pushing in coordinates before his regeneration starts. Sally, before I go, before I change, I want you to know, the man you're going to see is going to love you as much as I do. But also, I put the TARDIS coordinates to land us back in Naho Village because honestly, right now, when a Time Lord regenerates for the first, when a Time Lord regenerates, they don't know what they're doing. But when a Chaos Lord and the first, changes, uh, we have a period where our key kind of fluctuates. So I'm gonna be out of commission for a while. Do you really have to change? Yes. If I hold in a regeneration, I could die. And I don't mean like I'll regenerate again. No, I could die. So, Sally, stand back. As the professor regenerates, he lets out a howl of pain. It's actually a little louder than this, but people are actually trying to sleep, so I have to kind of downplay it. But yeah, he does scream like really loud. It's like it echoes. It echoes through the TARDIS actually. But I don't have time to actually like do that right now. But it echoes through the TARDIS, and he's just like, ugh! And glowing. The TARDIS gets hit. Nothing actually catches on fire, but everything's like sparking. And he changes. Now, the professor's skin tone, well, it doesn't really matter, but his skin tone kind of changes a little. His skin's a little lighter. And he goes, but as the TARDIS kind of crash lands in our whole village, like smack dab, the professor the professor gets up. He goes, "Hey, I'm the I'm the professor, right? I I don't seem to know much else, and I seem to be glowing a lot. Uh, but who are you?" Sally kind of looks at the new man that used to that that was the person she was in love with, and says, "I'm Sally Acorn, Princess of." She stops for a minute. Do you remember me at all? Memory's a little foggy. Memory's a little foggy, love, but I think I do. I only remember that you're really important to me. That you're someone I can't really travel without. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Well, oh, um, well, I need to basically, the coordinates are probably sent to where we need to go, right? So I I have a strong feeling that I should stay in here. But you go out there. I'm sorry, but I think my memory shall come back, and I can remember you. Sally. Sally hugs. Sally hugs this new man. Tear, tears start to stream down her cheek. I, I just. The professor, being newly regenerated, he doesn't really know what to say. He's very like he wants to say something, and he actually knows what he could say because, like the doctor, when for those of you that don't know, when Time Lords regenerate, they actually kind of they go through this period where they don't know who they are. But the thing about Chaos Lords, like their memory does come back, but it's more fragmented. So so you know he kind of knows what to say, but he just doesn't know how to say it because like he just got regenerated and his memory is so kind of fragmented. So he's just wondering what to say. I wish I could reassure you. I wish I could actually try to reassure you, but I'm sorry. But I promise when I get everything settled up here, we'll we'll go on and we'll take a trip. I think that's what we do, right? Yes. Well, when I get everything settled up here, we'll take a trip. Just you and me. How's that sound? How's that sound, Miss Acorn? She looks at the professor for a while. And she lets go of tight her tight hug and looks at the professor for a minute, wiping the tears away, saying she basically says, I would like that a lot. And basically that's where it ends. But basically, um Sally Acorn and guys, I know you guys are like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So Sally Acorn. So the professor takes Sally Acorn on a trip of a lifetime, gives her the complete companion treatment. Oh yeah, he does. Like I would say, like some of those old stories are gone now. It's kind of like the actual BBC when uh like certain episodes of Doctor are lost. Like I only remember bits of it, but I used to watch a lot of Tom Baker Doctor stuff. So the stories were more like that. And like that was the Professor's Sarah Jane right there. And you're probably wondering to yourself, um, when okay, if this is Sally Acorn, what universe would this technically be in? Well, at first it's gonna be an alternate take on Sonic Freedom Fighters at first, but I thought that was kind of dumb. But let's just say, let's just say, the professor was there during all the fights with Robotnik, and really, like, yeah, I know this is weird. I know this is weird. Okay, but bear with me. Bear with me here. The the robot like Sandy and Robotnik, Sam Robotnik actually made the Badniks kind of like, and gave them enough, and gave them enough intelligence to be kind of like the Cybermen, not Cybermen, Cybermen, and that was their way of roboticizing people. They all they need to do is like do a sequence and touch Mobian. I mean, even though but Robotnik was sort of like Davros a little bit. also, also, I kind of like the idea that the professor in an earlier time in his life probably met probably met Julian Kintabor, and actually was like uh, while he was while he was fighting while the Great War was happening while the Great War was happening when he was a kid, and he's like, we're at war. He's like, we're at war, sir. We're at war, sir. Why are you saving me? And he goes like, sometimes in a war you need to show mercy, and I'm doing that for you. Now, come on. So I would say this Robotnik is still evil. Don't get that twisted. He's still evil, but he does kind of hate the professor for kind of like he couldn't take Robotnik out of he couldn't take Julian out of history because he knew that Julian would grow up and be Robotnik. So he basically took him to a safer place, but in the time stream. He did subsequently change time in that universe. A little bit, not a lot, not like a huge bit, but he still remembers the professor. Like there are stories where actually where the because the Doctor Who is more set in like the past, the present, the future, and other alien planets. The the professor, on the other hand, can go to different universes, other worlds. Even if they're perceived as fiction, he can go to them because they exist. They exist in they exist in their own little universes that he can actually go through. See, I kind of like the idea of the Doctor. I kind of like the idea of the Doctor-like character. That's kind of like the Doctor going to other alternate universes, because I think that's very interesting because we never see the Doctor really go through a lot of alternate universes because he said that the Time Lords basically know how to do it, but it's kind of locked off to people. But the thing about the Professor in in this alternate take on the Doctor Who kind of universe, are there, but a lot of people say there's still like Saltarians. Um, are there still like, will we see Daleks? Oh yes, you'll still see Daleks because he actually does. I've wrote a few stories where he actually kind of does cross over with the Doctor and some dark and some. And the Professor is actually in some Dalek stories. I mean, there's a few others and stuff like that. But the Professor is basically just like, what if the Doctor died? What if the original Doctor, when he was the War Doctor, what if he died in the Time War, right? But what if, and this I changed this way, I just put this headcanon of mine in. But what if someone rose up and wanted to be the Doctor, but in this Time War, most of the Doctor's major enemies actually died on the Time War. I'm talking the Master. I'm talking like most of these big villains died in Time War. So there's like nothing going on in the main universe anymore, and that's when the Professor actually decides he didn't want to take up the Doctor because he didn't want to be known as just the Doctor. So he decides to name himself the Professor. I would say what he looks like, but it's a little bit. It's kind of like how Prime looks. It's kind of like how Bugsy Prime looks, and I'll put that on screen in a minute. Let me go grab that for you guys real quick. Let me get that on screen for you guys so you actually see it. It's like, you know my old avatar I used? He sort of looks a little bit like that, but yeah, no, actually, yeah, he looked like that. But actually, he looked like Ichi for a time. That was like his first real regeneration. Well, actually, that's what he looked like when he was in the Time War, because he was kind of a soldier, but he heard about stories of the Doctor. You know how he was a Time Lord that was basically doing a lot of good in the world before the Time War. And he does have qualms with the with some of the Time Lords like Rassilon and all that, because in Professor What, Rassilon is like his kind of like his nemesis. But the professor did have a brother, which kinda the professor did have a brother, and his name is Zach. And Zach kinda got taken over by a creature that is something that the master made to try and to destroy the Doctor, but it gains sentience, and it also has a little bit of the master's DNA. It actually got to take over Zach, making him into the Guardian. Which the Guardian is basically the Professor's version of the Master. Where, but unlike the Master who actually kind of needs the Doctor to have, kind of needs the Doctor because without him he has no purpose. Okay, unless we're talking about Missy, because Missy can do her own thing. And I would love, and I'm probably gonna read that book with the Missy Chronicles or whatever. But basically, the Guardian is the one that's basically always kind of like the overarching villain. Sometimes he'll fight the usual monster of the week, just like how Doctor Who stories are. But the Guardian's always in the kind of background, just starting things. What do I think he's more capable than the Master? It depends. Like he is, but the Guardian is like solely focused to just straight up fucking with the Professor. I mean, the Master kind of does his own thing, but I'd say the Guardian is like solely focused on fucking with the Professor, and the Professor is solely focused on trying to get Zach back. That's basically his whole entire character arc for a time. As said, Sally was his like Sarah Jane, and yes, that's true. He didn't really. He had a few companions, but he only had three because he only had three, mostly because those were the people he actually truly cared about. You know, he traveled around with Sally like after they all like Sonic and the rest of the Freedom Fighters and even the Professor kind of stopped Robotnik. And Sonic even said, you know, he's like, Prof, you could actually you could actually you could actually like you could actually save you could actually stop Robotnik in the void. The professor goes, Sonic, if I could do that, there's no way that that would work because it's all wibbly wobbly megal megalo stuff. If I was able to do like my TARDIS can't do that because it's a place where time stands still. It's like a little pocket universe that I can't enter. I could try, but still, it would cause massive temporal distortions, and I can't, I can't literally do that and disrupt this flow of time or all of your lives. the the professor the professor and Sally do actually have a kind of relationship at first. Now let me just tell you, when he met Sally, mm, like they were the same age. Because we've never seen like a young, like an actual young Time Lord. I mean, we've seen a young Time Lord, but we've never seen them actually, do what he did. So yeah, Sally and him were like the same age at first, and and don't worry, they're like, and don't worry, don't you worry. It's kind of like how, like I would say, it. It's kind of like how it's a little bit of how him and Rose were, with a little bit of Sarah Jane Smith kind of thrown in there. That's basically their dynamic. Um. So yeah, they. So yeah, he was kind like he was kind of in love with Sally, and Sonic in a way was Kane in the original thing was kind of like Mickey, like like a little bit like Mickey Rid Kane towards professor, because he understood that the professor didn't care for Sally. There was actually a period where he leaves Knothole to go on his own adventures to find Zack, and he actually finds Sally and the others as they're getting ready for the. He finds Sally and the others during, guess, when they were trying to find the deep power stones, and then he decided to stay. Unlike the Doctor, who basically goes like, I need to go somewhere. I need to do something. I need to, like how 11 was, where he's like, I need to do something. I always had to have something to do. He was like the professor is like willing to stay if it means helping out Sally, and he does meet Robotnik, and they do fight a few times. He's like, you, yes, yes, Julian, it's me. Because during that time where he just kind of goes away from the Freedom Fighters for a bit and goes on his own adventures to try and save Zack, that is when he literally goes and saves a young Julian Kinnivore. And yeah, he goes like, the Robotnik goes like, you. Hello, Julian. And from there, like, he has a whole thing of like, you were you were weak you were weak hearted, you know that. You could have let you could have let me die. I mean, you could have let me die that day. I could have. But I always believe that people do have a chance. Sure. I could have killed you. I could have, knowing what I knew of you, I could have finished it. And clearly, that was my intention. But I just couldn't. Sure. Sure. I just saw. Sure, I could probably do it. Lord knows I've seen. Omega knows I've seen a lot of death. Actually, how would I do that? Like, when I say Grace knows I've seen a lot of death, Omega knows I've seen a lot of death, or Rassilon I know I've seen a lot of death. Because I think I said Omega knows. I'm still remembering the script off in my head, so this is just stuff I still remember. So basically, um, so basically the professor and him go at it. He made these new badniks that suspiciously look like Cybermen, but has the Doctor's own little design on it. And what ensues is one like when the Cybermen first come on Doctor Who in the continuation, but a lot more fucked up because they can actually, instead of just taking them to facilities and doing that whole thing that they Cybermen do, and they actually kind of look like SWAT bots with like mixed with badniks. But basically, what they do is like just touch, and then they start changing and stuff. It's really kind of horrifying, and I remember I wrote that like so it was so detailed. I don't even know how I pulled that off as a kid. I just did. But basically, um, yeah. I mean, I'm just revealing. I don't know why I'm talking about it, but I just had this idea, mostly because I was thinking about what if we had a Doctor Who fan game on Roblox of all things. And I was like, and I was just doing some of my older quotes that I wrote down back in the day. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna talk about the professor for a bit. I'm gonna talk about the professor for a bit and see where that goes. But yeah, um, I I love the professor as a concept, and I love him as a character because, like the Doctor, he just has like traits. He has like there are certain traits, but instead of putting like the same old traits that the Doctor has, he has traits from some of my friends and people I know, and a little bit of my traits in there too, just to kind of spice things up. And before anybody asks that who is a Doctor Who fan, no, he has never got down and dirty with Sally in the TARDIS. Because, because back in the day, back when he was a boy, back when he was kind of becoming a teenager, some of his teachers would say, "I know you're getting to that age," and I can't say his actual name, but like let's just call him Bugsy because he does have an actual name, and no, it's not Argos for once, but it's a name, but I can't really say it. I can say it, but I'm not going to. But basically, they say you cannot have you cannot when you get to the point where when you get to the point you cannot engage in sexual intercourse on the TARDIS. He goes, why not, headmaster? He goes, because if you or your significant other were able to have a kid, they the baby would be displaced through time and space if the TARDIS is on while you and your significant other well, you and your significant other to have your fun. But yeah, not saying him and Sally have a kid though. Dear God, what would that even look like? But yeah, that'd be pretty interesting. But dear God, what would the baby even look like? Because the professor's like a time lord. They're like human like, and Mobians are more animalistic. So I just kind of wonder what would that even look like. It's an interesting thought to ponder. Hmm. Since I'm writing Vendetta for Robotnik, what if I actually reveal that Sally is pregnant? May no, that'd be too much. That'd be too much. I don't know. Maybe I'll hint at it and see if you guys like that. I don't know. I don't know. That's too much. I don't know, guys. I think you guys think like Bugsy. Bugsy has this giant furry fetish, and that's why he wants this. I don't know. But I think it'd be an interesting idea if there's an actual like Mobian human or even Sandlord hybrid. Because think about it, they have the DNA of they have the DNA of a Time Lord, the DNA of a Saiyan, and the DNA of whatever Mobian uh, they're they're with. So I don't know. That'd be interesting or a complete abomination. I don't know. I think it'd be an interesting idea if I wanted to do a what if. Because the professor does travel around helping people. And he does like traveling to different universes. But what if I make one where he just like, what if I make the what if where he stays? You know, think Sonic Family Life, but instead of like Sonic, it's like the professor, and the TARDIS is like turned into an actual like the TARDIS like the TARDIS can add rooms, so they actually make like little rooms for his kid and rooms for Sally and a room for Sally and the professor. And I still think that even though we never saw Jenny, it was, and I think that human Time Lord, human Time Lord hybrids basically, um, or clone, or I think hybrids can probably still regenerate, but they don't regenerate and change their face. It's more of a personality thing. I don't know. I'm just rambling on at this point. But as the professor would say right now, off you, off you all, off you all pop. For now, I shall, I shall see you real soon. And remember, even though, even though you think that I'm not doing Professor What, there are still things that I'm thinking about as I think about Vendetta for Robotnik. Because I've been looking at a lot of I've been watching a lot of Doctor Who lately, and I just remembered there's a lot of stuff I actually wrote for this. Some stuff I kind of want to bring back. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys think this is a good idea or just me, or you think this is just a weird idea, and I'm just being weird. I don't know, but I would like that. Maybe even have like a bunch maybe even have a bunch of writers with me to actually help me smooth out stories, you know what I mean? Think about it. It's like a Doctor Who story, but with all it'd be a Doctor Who story, but with all the because he'll be going to different dimensions with the writing of that particular universe meshed with a Doctor Who story. I don't know. Maybe that would work. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. Because back in the day, when I really thought of doing Professor What first, my friend Shin had this idea. I had this idea. What if the professor actually meets the mercenaries from TF2 when they're having the Halloween update? When they're having their Halloween event, which I think would be kind of funny because Marasmus would be there and he would want to go back. He'd try to take the TARDIS to go back before, well, before a lot of things in his life. Really. Um, Probably before the scout and him, probably before the soldier and him became roommates. And he'd try to do that, and he'd try to do that with his magic. Yeah, there'd be magic, and there'd be magic in the show too. Like the professor wouldn't do magic, but he knows, but magic does exist. It's not like Doctor Who where magic kind of doesn't exist. It kind of doesn't exist, and it kind of does. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. When people were restoring the Doctor, and he was stopping. He was stopping the Master. I think, but yeah, and he can transform. Since he's a Saiyan, he can transform, but they're different transformations than a normal Saiyan since he's a hybrid. But I'm not going to say what they are. But that's all I truly have to say to you guys. The professor is still, to my knowledge, the professor is still around. I may do more videos detailing the fact that he's been around for a long time, just in the background of my game, in the background of the creative universe I'm creating. But I'll see you all later. Peace and remember, even even though that there is a doctor, there will always in that same token there will always be a professor. There there are some differences, but he's around too, protecting the multiverse when the other Bugsies are basically protecting the multiverse in their own way, but he mostly protects it in a long-term kind of way. Peace. And yes, he will cross over with the other Bugsies. I'll see you guys real soon. Peace.